helped me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The shrill burst of laughter from behind the half-closed office door made my stomach twist before I even knew why. It was the kind of sound that didn't belong at work on a Thursday morning. Too sharp, too knowing, too familiar. I paused in the hallway, clutching the lunch I had brought for my husband, a simple gesture that suddenly felt out of place. Someone said his name, then the words that punched the air out of my lungs. He will flirt with Priya next. Watch. He always chooses someone off limits. Another voice chimed in. No, the bet is on the intern, the married one, Olivia. He keeps finding excuses to mentor her. More laughter. Nervous, wicked, entertained. For a moment I couldn't move, couldn't blink. The ground felt thinner. I wasn't supposed to be here. I had only stopped by to surprise him before his team meeting. But instead I found myself rooted outside a doorway where my husband's co-workers were placing wagers on who he would flirt with next. Flirt. Next. The word echoed like a taunt inside me. I forced myself to step forward, ignoring the burn behind my eyes. When I pushed the door open, the group jolted to silence. 4 faces flashed with panic. One tried to hide her smirk. Another looked away entirely. And there he was, my husband, Jason, sitting at the conference table, his expression caught somewhere between embarrassment and guilt. "Hey," he said quickly, standing. "You are early." I held up the lunch bag. "Thought you might be hungry." His co-workers scrambled to gather papers, mumbling excuses as they fled. But one woman lingered for a second too long. Young, polished, wedding ring glinting under the fluorescent lights. Olivia. Her eyes flicked from me to Jason. Fear flickered in her face. Not guilt. Fear. That tiny flicker was all it took to send my heart into a sprint that my body could not keep up with. Later, in the parking lot, I asked him the only question that bubbled above the others. Why are they betting on who you flirt with next? His jaw tightened. Office jokes. You know how they are. But his eyes wouldn't stay on mine. They kept drifting down. Left. Anywhere but my face. Is it true? My voice cracked. Are you flirting with her? He stepped closer, lowering his voice. No, of course not. She is married. And young. It is just stupid teasing. Yet he said young like an apology. Married like a complication. Not a boundary. For the rest of the day, the memory of Olivia's eyes haunted me. Her expression wasn't flirtation. It wasn't amusement. It was dread, like she was bracing for a fallout that had already begun. That night, I told myself not to check his phone. So I checked his phone. There were no messages, no calls, nothing that screamed betrayal. But there was something worse. A pattern, a quiet space where conversations had been. Deleted threads, gaps in the timeline, the unmistakable signature of someone who knew how to hide things. Weeks passed. I became a detective in my own marriage, listening for tone shifts, watching for changes, pretending everything was fine while my heart hollowed out. One afternoon, when I drove to pick him up from work, I saw them through the glass lobby, Jason and Olivia, standing too close, his hand brushing her arm, her shoulders tense with uncertainty, his smile too soft, too careful, too familiar. I parked but did not get out. I watched instead, feeling something inside me crack like thin ice under a sudden weight. When he finally got in the car, he was breathless. Sorry, lost track of time. I saw you, I whispered. His body went rigid. So what? Huh? You, the way you touched her. He exhaled, long and heavy. It was nothing. She is going through a hard time. Jason, she flinched. The sentence hung between us like a truth neither of us wanted to complete. He didn't answer. Silence filled the car, swallowing the last of my denial. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, letting the ache inside me spill out in slow, shuddering breaths. I thought of the woman he once promised to protect. I thought of the man I believed he still was. And then I thought of Olivia, caught in something she never asked for, terrified of the consequences of saying no. The twist came quietly, not in confessions or screaming matches, but in the simplest realization. He hadn't just cheated on me. He had crossed boundaries with a woman who didn't feel safe enough to stop him. I wrote him a letter, a long one. No anger, no accusations, only truth. I told him I deserved a partner who didn't gamble with another woman's safety or my heart. I told him I needed space, and then I packed a bag. As I closed the door behind me, my chest felt bruised, but light, broken, but breathing. The story of us had ended, completely, and for the first time in months, I felt the quiet strength of knowing I still had myself.